Hope Goldman is a famous facialist who has her skincare line. She mostly works with stars and celebrities. Giving an interview in a famous Brett and Kylie show, she declares how she's launching her new line made exclusively in Italy. One day, she is working around when she notices something opening up opposite to her. She walks to the store with some of her products to introduce herself and establish good relations. The place, named Shimmer by Angel, turns out to be run by another facialist, Angel. Hope tries to be polite, implying they don't have common customers, which Angel agrees to. However, Angel tells her to remove her car from his parking space, making her lose the tiny effort of accepting Angel. Later on, she is in a cafe meeting a friend, but her mind keeps running to this scenario. Taking a pack of cigarettes, she is smoking outside when she notices an old friend, Jordan. Talking to him, she expresses how it's hard to keep up with the costs, but Jordan expresses how she's always been a motivation for him. From being kind to being a hard worker, he looks up to her. He then tells her that he is a life coach and works on teaching both spiritual teachings and martial arts. He gives her his card, telling her he can help her if she ever needs any. The next day, Hope checks her phone and finds a video sent to her in which she's being recorded from outside her house. She calls the number, but the other person doesn't speak up. She is later walking to her salon when she receives a call from her assistant and her emails start spamming up. Her close friends assume she was too drunk last night, but Hope knows it's not true when she checks her email and finds an email sent to thousands of people from her. In the email, she is expressing her loneliness and how she is writing it to reach her friends and fans in need of some explicit times. Hope walks to her salon and tells Maureen, her assistant, to call every client of theirs and tell them they've been hacked. She then improves her mood by having Maureen record her reaction to her episode on the show being aired. However, when the hosts introduce the guest, it's not her but the facialist Angel. After screaming her lungs out in frustration, she decides to meet up with Brett for dinner. She clears up the situation about being hacked, which he believes, but he tells her it was the producers who avoided doing that. With her request, Brett agrees to have that episode aired somehow. After dinner, he drives to her house and ends up kissing her in the car. Hope tells him that she can't take things ahead with him since he is married. Brett is still casually trying till she tells him she accidentally ended up recording the conversation. Brett tells her to delete it, which she agrees to. He then starts asking to check her phone, making her remind him that he knows she won't do any such thing and will delete it. The next day, Hope is staring from her salon window about Angel getting into good books of everyone around when she sees one of her clients, Jessica, coming out of her car. Knowing they don't have an appointment with her, she goes out of her back door and finds Jessica going into Angel's salon. Going into the salon, Hope creates a scene with Jessica, making Angel tell her to leave. At night, Hope is going to leave for home when she finds her tires slashed. She calls the police for help and later gets her tires changed by her friend, Armin. She also moves her stock to his garage since she knows somebody is after her now. Armin also suggests she buy a gun for self-defense, since things seem dangerous for her now. The next day, Hope goes to buy a gun, but when the shopkeeper tells her about the fire safety test and that she can have it after 10 days of background check, she tells him she wants something now. So Hope confidently leaves after buying a $30 pink taser. Trying to defuse the situation, Hope is offered free facials to redeem her connection with her clients. Margaret is currently getting a facial when a bearded homeless man enters the salon and causes a commotion about wanting to get services from Hope. Coincidentally, Jordan is visiting her and fights the guy away. Later, the two Marine discover websites suggesting Hope giving sexual services at her salon and report it to the police. Jordan and Hope go back to her house where she asks him about suggestions in business. Jordan suggests she be more socially active and reachable for new people to be introduced to her, and gives the idea of a VIP lunch for her launch. Later, Jordan clicks some of her pictures for her posts, during which the two of them start getting comfortable around each other. The next day, Hope calls Brett and tells him to air her episode somehow. Even though she has deleted the recording, she tells Brett to not talk about their reputation with her when he is like that. Hope's popularity decreases day by day, making her financial situation hard as well. Seeing Angel's popularity increase at the same pace as hers going down, she deduces it is all his agenda. Knowing no one is believing her, she decides to follow Angel one night. He indeed turns out to be the neighbor living opposite to her, but as she looks through his window, he is only singing songs in karaoke mode in his living room. Still, she calls Jordan on voicemail and tells him she finds something odd about him and is going to find out. Meanwhile, Jordan is dancing around in his room in his underwear while moving around a baseball bat. He then records a Skype session for his life coaching lecture when the man from that day at the store barges into his room. No, not for some revenge, but to get his money for doing what Jordan told him to. As Hope is busy suspecting Angel, it turns out to be the guy she trusts the most, who has been sabotaging her entire career. When Hope meets Jordan, she is ranting to him about Angel being so petty and sabotaging her entire career and stuff like that. Jordan tells her he will talk to Angel and resolve the situation. He then goes to Angel's salon and lamely mentions how he is a life coach and would want a partnership, making Angel tell him to leave. Walking outside, Jordan is frustrated at the embarrassment, as if there was something else expected with the way he presented himself. However, talking to Hope on call, he tells her he talked things out with Angel and he won't bother her anymore. Turns out Jordan created this entire scenario just to look like a hero in front of Hope. At night, Hope feels better about the scenario until some creep sneaks into her house. She uses the taser timely to drive him away, and then frustratedly calls Jordan, lashing out at him for not resolving things. Jordan, who is currently deleting all the websites he created, is shocked at the scenario himself, as if he had no idea what he did could have unforeseen circumstances. Tired of it, Hope tells him to stay out of her business, as she will handle the situation on her own now. With no other resolve, she goes to Armin, who tells her not to worry and that he will handle the situation for her now. All she needs to do is to never mention this to anyone again. The next day, Hope is feeling bright, making Maureen question her. Maureen tells her not to do anything stupid that could ruin all the two of them have worked for. Hope tells her to stay positive, as she won't do anything of that sort. However, she receives a call from the police and meets an officer in the parking lot who shows her the CCTV footage of not Angel, but Jordan slashing her tires. So it turns out that she indeed did something very stupid by trusting Jordan and telling Armin to deal with Angel. The same night, Jordan is still on his plan to be a hero, as he asks the guy to create a similar scenario as the salon the next day, but at her house this time. Meanwhile, Hope is trying to reach Armin to tell him to abort whatever mission he is on, but like every cliché event, Armin doesn't have her phone with him and has reached Angel's house. As Hope drives, Armin is busy having a brutal fight with Angel while telling her not to mess with Hope ever again. By the time Hope reaches the house, she sees the door ajar and goes inside, only to find a bloodied Angel lying unconscious in his living room. She rushes away while trying to reach Armin, but Armin very conveniently gets killed in a car accident after a few moments of creating permanent damage to Hope's life and career. The next day, Hope calls Jordan, telling him to meet her in person, and tells him something bad happened to Angel. Jordan calls the police, reporting Hope's stalker behavior towards Angel and how something might have happened to him. Hope is sneakily looking out at her window as police investigate Angel's salon when she receives the call about Armin's death. Maureen tells her Jordan's address. Hope gets there to confront Jordan and realizes this was some sick way of his to help her out and express his love for her. Hope escapes the place by hitting him with his baseball bat. That night, Hope puts on her makeup for the camera yet again, but for a different scenario. When she's ready, the police come to her door and she surrenders herself instead of doing something rash. However, she also manages to get Jordan arrested for his crimes. Just like any other Hollywood scandal, Angel is dragged into an unnecessary scenario while Hope has made news for all the people seeking to get media attention. Not to mention the Brett and Kylie show twisting her words from their interview, where Hope mentioned how everything depends on what you're willing to do to get where you want to be.